Greetings, everybody. Happy Friday. How are you all doing today? I'm the Moon Mama, and today is the day that Venus is governing. And Venus is currently in Sagittarius. And what a gift. So, this Venus is actually. Hi there. This Venus is actually the ruler of the current Mercury retrograde that we are in. I feel like I didn't really do my due diligence before I came in here. Like, I don't know what date it is. I think today is the. Hold on one second. I'm sorry. Okay, great. Thank you so much. All right. So today is the 15th. So we have 3 more days before Mercury turns around and goes back direct. It's really significant to the popular narrative is around like Mercury in the 3 weeks that it's actually going backwards. But if you can just imagine Mercury retrograde in this way, like just imagine that you are getting ready to go somewhere. You're about to leave your home and you walk out of your house and you walk to your car, and then you get to your car and you realize that you've forgotten your keys. So then you take the same route back to your house, you get your keys, and then you take that same route back to your car with your keys. This is what Mercury retrograde does. It literally goes in one direction, and then it turns around and comes back, and then it goes back again. And if you can imagine yourself doing that same sort of track, you can recognize like what is your consciousness doing. So when you go the first time, there is a certain consciousness, but then you realize you've forgotten your keys, and so you turn around with a different intention of reclaiming something, right? Or getting something that was forgotten. So your mind is in a different space than it was the first time that it went in that direction the first time. As it turns around and comes back, there's a different energy present. Like you have a deeper intention. You are going to recover something. You're going to use your memory. Like there's just some different mindset around it is what I'm trying to say. And then once you have your keys in your hand and you're going to make that same journey back again, you have an even stronger intention. So this is the power of the retrograde. It really is to look at the things in our lives from various perspectives. And this is how we transmute, heal, and reorganize energy by looking at the behaviors and the things in the environment and how we have been responding to it and what has come up in this time. So Mercury went retrograde, I believe, on the 27th of September, but it started the retrograde cycle 3 weeks prior to that. And it will turn around and go back direct, like what I just said, and then it will spend another 3 weeks in the retrograde shadow. And so because it's been in Libra, it's been asking us to look at our relationships. And the first part of it, Venus is the ruler because Venus rules Libra. And the ruler of Libra had been in Scorpio. It started in Scorpio. So the first part of this retrograde was really in the depths of our own relationships around how we share power. And it's been so profound to look at this. Like, I didn't teach a class this time because I was in Egypt and I didn't really prepare for it. And I'm so happy I didn't try to teach a class because I would not have done a good job at it. But what I have discovered in this, like if we have been doing the work, like for me personally, I've been looking at the way my patterns of relating got wired in my consciousness based upon the family of origin that I was born into. And so you want to think about who your parents were, how they related to one another, how they felt about one another, how you took that on as a child, how you made it feel about you. So for me, I'm really noticing, and it's on some level it's heartbreaking and sad, but really I'm excited about it because it's so interesting how this how this psyche projects our inner reality, and we create relationships based upon how we really feel about ourselves. And how we feel about ourselves is so deeply personal. So I just am seeing that most of my relationships from childhood were formulated based upon the fact that I felt deeply ashamed of myself because I was poor, because I was black, because I didn't look the way the culture and society said that I should, but not even more than that, because I didn't look the way my mother thought beauty should express. And that was really the internal energy. So most of my relationships were born out of, oh, I want to be friends with her because she looks the way my mother thinks is pretty. So I'm going to go be friends with her. Even though that's not what my mind was thinking, that was the inner energy that was moving me into connections based upon how people looked, or if they had things that I thought were valuable that I didn't have. But it was all based on my own sense of unworthiness and my own feelings of lack and scarcity and not belonging and not being enough. So really, all of my relationships were somehow formulated through this undercurrent of deep unworthiness. Venus in Scorpio, the shadow. So the shadow was really running all of my connections. And this Mercury retrograde has just given me the clarity, the peace of mind, the space to actually look at it. And it's shown up with triggers, which I'm fine with, because our triggers are the way that we actually discover what we need to address. Like the thing, when people trigger you, the trigger is the opportunity to see, oh, what's going on with me? Why am I triggered by this? And then asking yourself, why are you triggered? Looking at the scenario, how it's playing out, and then doing the work to really uncover what is what's got your attention. So Venus, today is a Venus day. And so what I forgot to say is on Venus days, I ask for donations or thank yous or whatever it is, whatever the work is that I'm doing that's supporting you. Please share, please, because this is about reciprocity, and Venus is about reciprocity. And if reciprocity isn't here, I won't continue to be here, because, and whatever the reciprocity is, it doesn't have to be money. That's not what it's about at all. But it does have to be a real understanding of the value, because Venus is about value. And all of our relationships, if you're paying attention, are about how we value ourselves. So my sharing here is because I understand that what I'm doing is valuable, because I didn't have anybody to do this for me growing up when I was younger. I didn't have anybody who had this understanding, and I still don't see people who have it. So I know that what I'm offering is valuable. So however it impacts you, however it supports you, share. And if you feel moved to give a donation, you can do so at my Cash App, which is $Monique Ruffin, or my Venmo, which is @Monique-Ruffin, or you can send me a private message, a thank you, whatever it is. Just the intention is to really harness the energy of value and reciprocity, because if you don't acknowledge it, you can't own it. It's not yours. And when you put your energy into something, you actually then are able to extract the benefit out of it. So with that, Venus is currently in Sagittarius at the 8th degree. And thank goodness that Venus went into Sagittarius, because Sagittarius is a much more faith-based, inspiring, loving, fun, truth-seeking energy that is helping us come on the other end of this retrograde that started in Scorpio. So Scorpio dives deep into the shadow, deep into sexual trauma, sexuality, sexual power, how our heritage, the stuff that we inherited from our family, the secrets, the unknown stuff, all of that is really all the depths of Venus and Scorpio. Just the depths of obsessions and and how we really misuse our power. And one of the, not just misusing it, because we don't have to misuse it. We actually can use it in a way that benefits us. And what I was able to discover with that is that I literally would choose people to be friends or partners that really highlighted my depth of unworthiness, which is a shadow energy that would sort of kind of have me exacerbate the fact that I had low self-esteem, or I didn't feel good about myself, or that I was insecure in ways that I wasn't even aware of. And so now that Venus has gone into Sagittarius, the light has sort of come to it. It's like now we have the energy to course correct and see it clearly for what it is, and then create a new vision. It's literally just the reprogramming of your energy, the reprogramming of the energy within you. That is how you relate to others. It's so important to recognize that the people in our life are showing us how we relate to ourselves. That's it. That's all they can ever do, because we choose them based upon how we feel about ourselves. And so we have this opportunity now to see with clarity, right? To see with unconditional love, with faith, to feel deeply. Venus at the 8th degree of Sagittarius is about goodness, really. And if we have the desire and we have the courage to really look at our shadows, to ask ourselves deeper questions about what motivates us, Sagittarius will offer us a new perspective, a new vision, new possibilities, faith, and a new way of being. It's really important to know that come December 19th, Venus is going to go retrograde in Capricorn. And Venus retrograde, Sherry Davis Worthy sent a request to be in your video. So Sherry, what would you like to talk about? I don't want to bring you here and then have an experience that feels where I feel unprepared. So tell me what you want to talk about. If that feels in alignment, I'll bring you on. But Venus is going to go retrograde on December 19th in Capricorn, and it's going to start conjunct Pluto. So this retrograde that we've been in was also an aspect of Pluto, which is why it's been so brutal. So whatever you have been deconstructing in this retrograde around the way you relate or your relationships, know that in December, we're going to have the opportunity to really restore our personal emotional authority and power and from ways that we've been giving it away, right? So, sometimes as women or people, just people in general, we might feel like I can't be happy by myself. So that's a way you give your power away, by believing that you in and of yourself are not enough and you need somebody else to be happy. So we will need to do the work to restore those beliefs, practices, and ways of being back to ourselves. It's just reclaiming the energy and bringing it back. And it's like looking at the ways that these patterns are here because our mothers taught it to us. Our fathers perpetrated these energies in our lives. It's the stuff that comes through family lineage. And if you are a Black person, white people have this stuff too. That's not my path. But if you are a Black person who was a part of this American system and indoctrinated through Christianity, where you were taught that your power is in Jesus Christ, you got to believe in somebody outside of you. All of that stuff is about your personal power and taking it back so that you can actually be the God being and live a sovereign life in the way that best is suited to your energy, the way you are made to be here. So with that, the moon today is in Aquarius. The moon in Aquarius is the energy of being like detaching from the old ways of being. It's really an opportunity to see, to let go of the emotions. You don't have to be all in how it feels and all that sort of stuff. You can just see it for what it is. Does it serve? Yes or no? If it does, find out how you're going to move forward with it. If it doesn't, let it go. Like really, that is Aquarius. It's just cut it off. and not in a cold, callous way, but just for the purpose of understanding that it's just time to move forward. It's just time for something else. Like, when you graduate from first grade to the second grade, you're not holding on to the second grade like, oh my God, I wish I was still there. You're like in the second grade now. And everything that comes with you, and everything that needs to stay will stay. And that's how we want to move forward in this retrograde energy. The patterns, the behaviors around relating that can serve us and move forward with us, keep them. The ones that don't need to go. Personally, I don't even know. Like, I'm just letting everything go right now. I am letting everything go. The only thing that I'm still really feeling connected to is how much I love my son. I love, love, love my baby, and how powerful he is, and how he had an incredible strong will to get here, because I understand that it took a lot for him to come through me because of all the trauma I carried. And so he is just a pure example of how love is real and how good the universe is. And it doesn't matter the circumstances of your life and what you've been through. The universe will still bring love through you if you are willing to allow it to happen. Jennifer said, I realized I was playing secondary supportive role in all relationships. I'm ready to step up. That is so fucking right. Absolutely. I feel like I'm paying attention to that too. Like why am I in the relationships I'm in? I'm literally looking at all of my relationships, and how do these relationships serve me? What's the value exchange in these relationships? Am I giving something that I want to give? Am I receiving something that feels of value to me? And, just telling the truth. And these are truths to tell. They're not easy to look at, but nobody's the blame. Honestly, nobody's the blame. Don't blame anybody, because all of these relationships truly just come from our childhood patterning. That's it. Okay, Sherry Davis is asking to be on the video again. I don't know if you told me why you want to come and talk, because if you tell me, I will, watching this was worth 2 of my loves right now. All right, Sherry, I'm not sure what your request is about. And I'm not, like I said, I'm kind of sensitive and vulnerable. So if you come on and we don't have an easy conversation, I'm not going to be, I don't like it. I'm not really nice right now. So if you tell me what you want to talk about and it feels in alignment, I'll bring you. Okay. So, with that, today's the 15th. We have 4 more days before Mercury goes direct at the 10th degree of Libra. And it's just a really beautiful time to continue to keep ourselves responsible for our own energy, to allow ourselves to tell ourselves the truth. I mean, one of the things that I think about often in relationships and these hierarchies and the conditioning that we live into, because a lot of my story has been around, like skin tone identity, right? Like not feeling pretty because I wasn't light skinned and being, but really I'm always so curious about women who were light skinned. Like my mother was a light skinned woman, and how they use that as a power, or how they use that. Did they feel better about themselves? Did they feel superior? Did they feel like they were special? And, did they really buy into those ideas? And, because it takes the opposite to do the thing, right? So like where I was in relationship with somebody who was a light skinned, curly haired girl as a friend, right? Like, do those women have the awareness to admit that, yeah, I chose people who made me feel better about myself? Like, because that's okay, but you can't free yourself from the patterns if you're not willing to acknowledge the patterns and the beliefs that were set in place. It's really important to undo these hierarchical belief systems, because as we move into our Pluto return in America, all of these systemic beliefs and practices and systems are coming crashing down. So the more we can undo them inside of our own consciousness, the better off we'll be. Deshawn Booker, she says, I will continue to watch the replay. Must get back to teaching my class. I love you. I love you too, Deshawn. Thank you. Deshawn and I went to high school together. So with that, you guys, all right. Peace and blessings. I love y'all. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.